This is the most inspiring story of all time. It will make you cry. If there's one person who could inspire us to overcome any obstacle in our life, that would be this man. He fought against racial discrimination and was thrown into prison for 27 years. But he never gave up, kept fighting even from behind prison bars, and eventually became the president of South Africa. This is the story of Nelson Mandela. He was born on July 18, 1918, in a small village called Mvezo in South Africa. His father was a chief, but his parents had a difficult marriage, so they separated when Mandela was only 9 years old. He was then sent to live with his uncle in a city. Although Mandela had access to education now, he soon realized that black people were being treated unfairly. When he was just 12 years old, he heard a speech by Pixley K. Isaka, who was a leader of a movement against racial discrimination. The speech had a huge impact on young Mandela, and he joined the African National Congress at age 23. It was a group which aimed to end the country's racist policies. He studied law and became one of the ANC's most effective leaders. In 1944, he co-founded the ANC's Youth League, which organized protests against racist laws. And in 1948, after the National Party won the election on an anti-black platform, the ANC decided to defy these laws openly and began acts of civil disobedience. Mandela was arrested several times for his political activities, but each time he was released. However, in 1962, he was charged with sabotage for planning to overthrow the government and sentenced to 5 years in prison. He spent 4 years in jail and became famous throughout the world. But after his release, instead of making him give up, it made him angrier. And he began planning to take down the entire system. He continued to organize the ANC's armed wing, Umkhonto we Sizwe, which carried out attacks on government buildings and infrastructure. In 1964, Mandela and other activists were put on trial for sabotage and conspiracy to overthrow the government. This was a show trial where the outcome was predetermined and Mandela was given a life sentence. He spent the next 27 years in prison, from the age of 45 to 72, most of them on Robben Island. Despite the hardships, Mandela never lost hope. He worked as a waiter in the prison kitchen and taught other prisoners how to read. His cell was extremely cold and damp, but he still managed to keep himself busy and wrote his autobiography while in prison. But he was still hopeful that someday he would get out and free his country. And that day finally came on February 11, 1990. After serving 27 years in prison, Mandela was released. The world celebrated this day as a victory for justice and equality. Upon his release, Mandela called for forgiveness and reconciliation between black and white South Africans. He said, "As I walked out the door, I knew if I looked back, I would never walk back." Mandela had become an international icon of peace and freedom. Mandela's release from prison was a major turning point in South Africa's history. The country began to transition from apartheid to democracy. And in 1994, South Africa held its first multiracial election. On May 10, 1994, Nelson Mandela was elected as the first black president of South Africa. He took the presidential oath on a Bible that was brought from his village, and he chose to forgive his jailers rather than punish them. His presidency was marked by efforts to heal the wounds of the past and build a new South Africa based on democracy, justice, and equality. He established the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to investigate human rights violations committed during the apartheid era. Mandela also played a key role in the release of political prisoners and the dismantling of the apartheid regime. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993 for his work toward ending apartheid and promoting racial reconciliation in South Africa. After serving one term as president, Mandela retired from politics and devoted his time to humanitarian work through the Nelson Mandela Foundation. He continued to be a voice for peace and justice around the world until his death. On December 5, 2013, he died at the age of 95 after suffering from a long illness. Millions of people around the world mourned the loss of this great leader and humanitarian. Today, Nelson Mandela is remembered as one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century. He is a symbol of courage, resilience, and the power of forgiveness. Here are some of his most powerful and inspiring quotes. "It always seems impossible until it's done." This quote is a reminder that no matter how difficult a task may seem, it is possible if we set our minds to it. As Mandela demonstrated, it took him and his people decades to dismantle the racist regime in South Africa. But their hard work and determination paid off. So whenever you're facing a challenge, remember that it's not impossible until it's done. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Education is essential for the growth and development of individuals and societies. It is through education that we learn about the world around us, develop critical thinking skills, and become informed citizens. Mandela believed that education was the key to unlocking the potential of individuals and transforming society. By educating ourselves and future generations, we can break down barriers, challenge stereotypes, and create a better future for all. If you want to make enemies, try to change something. This quote highlights the challenges that come with fighting for justice and equality. Mandela understood that those in power often resist change and will try to maintain the status quo. But despite the opposition, he continued to fight for what he believed in, and ultimately succeeded in bringing down the apartheid regime. Resentment and hatred only perpetuate the cycle of violence. In his autobiography, Mandela wrote about the importance of forgiveness in overcoming adversity. He recognized that harboring negative emotions towards his oppressors would only cause him and his people further pain. Instead, he chose to forgive his captors and work towards reconciliation, setting an example for others in similar situations. These are just a few of the many powerful and inspiring quotes by Nelson Mandela. His words continue to resonate with people around the world and serve as a reminder of the importance of fighting for justice, equality, and peace. So what are your thoughts about the story of Nelson Mandela? What did you find most inspiring about his life and legacy? Let us know in the comments below. Or if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Thanks for watching.